is Ginnel, and she is going to tell us about her trials and how she decided to overcome them, or how she gets through them. And I hope that she inspires some of you because she is a living testimony, right, Ginnel?
Yes.
So, Ginnel, could you please inform us of the challenges that you have been facing? Where did it start and what?
I can put it as I was born like a regular child, quote unquote normal child. Then round about 4, 5 thereabouts, my parents realized that something was just off about me. I started running and falling and so forth. So they decided to bring me to the doctor. I was up and down from doctor to find out what was wrong. And around about age between 6 to 8, I think it was around about age 8, I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. And to this day, they are not sure if it's really muscular dystrophy, but based on physical abilities, they say it's muscular dystrophy.
Wow, I can imagine how hard that must be for you because I know that sometimes you have to use a wheelchair. Um, does that restrict you in any way?
No, I'd say it more allows me to be more mobile. So being in a wheelchair really does help me to navigate and be able to do more things that I'd want to do. But that wasn't easy just because, when you start going into a chair, you're like, oh, everyone is watching me, and you feel everyone looking at you and you don't really know how to feel about it. But when I started university and everything, I could say my confidence really boosted because persons were like, girl, I wish I had a chair like yours because this walk is just crazy. And I was like, so after that, I have a vehicle for myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember me and my friends always said we wished we had a golf cart because you were those small. And you have your own little golf cart. So, yeah, we grudge a little bit. One thing about you, you always used to be in your classes, you always used to volunteer for class rep. Like, you were not hindered at all in my eyes. Not never wrong with you because you were always on top of your game. But I cannot imagine that this would not affect your mental health. So if it has affected your mental health, how so?
Well, it has really affected my mental health because having an illness like this, sometimes you're up and about, and then another time you're unable to really walk, much less to stand. So you can't even stand up, much less to say, okay, let me take a step to even walk. And it really does affect you, especially sometimes you want to do something. And for example, it's not every time I have my chair around me. So I can walk, but not far. And then when my chair isn't around me, then I'm limited. So it really does put a strain on me because it it gets a lot when you realize that, oh, I want to do this and I just can't do it because
So it takes away your independence.
yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how that would weigh on you because me, I don't like to depend on people. So I feel it for you. I really
Yeah.
do. You are more positive than a lot of people who don't have muscular dystrophy. They don't have to be in a wheelchair, and me just wonder how you do it because you even have a YouTube and an Instagram that you're always trying to inspire people, and me just really want to know how you do it. I was very able-bodied, no sickness, not the inner me or nothing, and it did just hard for me to wake up out of my bed, much less to be motivating people like it. So please tell me why you're so positive. What? Tell me.
I could say I'm positive because like my faith, how I was grown, and I was growing up in the church and everything. Well, I'm still in the church, but like what I've learned, so it has really helped me to remain grounded and everything. So when things get bad, I'm like, for like the woman with the issue of blood that she had for 13 years, I'm like, okay, And I remember when I was diagnosed and everything, so I'm like a positive person. I'm like trying to be optimistic, and I'm like, all right, so this is year 13. Oh, maybe this is my year for breakthrough. All right, and I'm working towards it, and I have a little hope and everything. But a lot of times it does get stressful and everything. So normally I just go in the mirror and I talk to myself in the mirror. I'm sorry, I don't know if you do it, but if you don't
Let
do
me
it,
tell you, them say talking to yourself is the first sign of madness. I'm very mad. So of course we're talking to yourself.
well, for me, talking to yourself is the first sign of loving yourself for
I
me.
agree.
Because
And God, because half of the time me I talk to myself, is
yeah.
God me I talk to, or myself. But yeah,
So like you look in the mirror and you tell yourself what you want to tell yourself, what you expect from her or what you expect from him. And for me, like sometimes when I was at school and something just becomes so stressful, or I realize that, boy, all right, you have class, you don't have that much energy, what are you going to do? So I go in the bathroom mirror and I look and I say, Ginnel, you're a beautiful girl. And I start talking to her and I tell her that, yeah, I see you're sad and everything, but you need to smile. Come on, baby girl, you got this. Everything will be okay. And at the end of the pep talk, you see a big smile on my face and people saying, oh, I see you smiling. You're always smiling. I'm like,
you know how much work me have to do to get that
yes,
smile.
ma'am.
A lot of people neglect self-love. I heard you say that you talk to yourself in the mirror and whatever, and you love yourself. How crucial do you feel that self-love is to helping you throughout your day?
Okay, for me, I believe that self-love is crucial because it not just helps you throughout your day, it helps you in developing you. And for me, personal growth is a big thing. Personal development, for me, every day you wake up, you're supposed to be a better version of yourself. You can't just stay in that one zone. So in loving on yourself, you learn to appreciate who you are. You get to understand who you are despite your flaws. You live on what is strong, and your weakness you try to build it. So yeah, that's what I do for self-love. Really find what I'm a bit down about, and it might not be easy, but at the end of the day you get to really understand who you are. So whenever something arises, and even when persons are saying, oh, you can't do this, you'll be like, in your mind, which I do enough time, oh really, me can do that, watch me.
Bet.
And I do it. So
Yeah.
self-love is really a crucial point in a person's life, because when you love yourself, you really know what you're capable of. And even though sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not capable of this, but look at your patterns, look at your trends, look at what you want for yourself, your ideal self, and really understand what you want for yourself. Sometimes you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So that is also self-love, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
And you make really good points. Also, you are the only one that is guaranteed to be there for yourself. So it makes sense that you love yourself
Pour into
first.
yourself.
Pour into yourself before you pour into anyone else too. What advice do you have for people who have suddenly or are suddenly facing new challenges, whether it be a new diagnosis, a new disability, whether them lose them house, them money, whatever? What advice do you have for people like that to pull themselves up out of a dark place?
Oh, alright. So, to be honest, I just want to say not every setback is a setback. Sometimes it's just a moment for you to pause and be in awe. That's something I always say. I really learned that whilst going to university, because at a point I saw like, boy, the places just get dark, and like, okay, girl, it it don't look possible. You're going down a rabbit hole. You are just going down, and there's no way of getting back up. So I really penned that when I was in a distress point. I'm sorry, when I'm at my weakest point, when I'm most sad or anything, that's when I motivate the most. So like sometimes I'm going through a challenge, and that's when I motivate myself or even others. And in motivating others, I motivate myself. So it's just really that. So not every setback is a setback, and your diagnosis doesn't mean death. Because for me, from age 13, I should have been dead. And I went through a surgery for correctional surgery for my spine because I had scoliosis. and doctors would have said, oh, she's not going to live. Well, there's a high possibility she might not live, and if she lives, she'll be paralyzed, or there's a high chance of her being paralyzed. And if she, either way you take it, she has to be on life support for 3 to 6 months, and none of that happened. I lived, I sat up the same night, I took my first step the same night. My surgery that was supposed to be over 12 hours long was less than, I think it was less than 8 hours, and no challenges, nothing happened in the surgery. And the night I was able to sit up, I was able to take off the mask off my face and speak, I was able to stand and walk. So it doesn't mean it's a death sentence. Sometimes we have to speak life into ourselves, because I remember when the opportunity came for me to decide if I wanted to do the surgery. Yes, I was young, and normally when you have younger children you don't let them decide, but I guess because I was going through this all from I was young and everything, the doctor was like, okay, this is the point where she could lose her life. She has to make a decision. And I said, look here, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was like, boy, but I'm going there dead. Yeah, but I'm going there and die. At least I tried. And there is nothing to lose, because anyway you take it, if I don't do the surgery, I'm going to ultimately die. So at least I have a chance of gaining something if I go in there. So I went in there and I did it. So what I can say to you, whether it is that you've got a new diagnosis or you lost everything, it's not a setback. Sometimes it is an opportunity for you to get better, an opportunity for you to become a better version of yourself. And if you are challenged in any way, I just want to say, if you're blind, see the vision. If you're deaf, hear the loud shouts. If you're muted, meaning you're dumb, that's okay. Shout out and make everybody hear your victory. And if you can't walk, you have a physical challenge in any way, look here. The finishing line is over there, so run to the end of it. It doesn't matter how you get there, it's just about finishing the race and doing what you come here to do. And you have purpose, so just work at your purpose. You might not know it yet, but your path is leading you to it. So just keep trusting the process and you'll ultimately get there.
Thank you so much for meeting up with me, for agreeing to do this interview. I really appreciate your words of wisdom, the encouragement for the people, because you're in a difficult situation, or more difficult than others, yet your attitude, your positivity is shining above a lot of other people. So please keep it up.
Thanks.